Well, I guess we'll start. So thanks for joining us, and sorry again for the delay in getting us started. But my name is Brock Grenis. I'm the transit administrator with ECICOG, and we're just here today to talk about van pooling. So thanks for joining. We're kind of an interesting setup in that we use a contractor to operate and run the van pool service, and that's Commute with Enterprise. Abby Wilcox is our know-all contact there. So she's going to be discussing van pooling today on the webinar and leading us. So I just wanted to kind of give that introduction to her. She covers kind of all our region and all new leads and the existing van pools. And then she'll talk also, about the new incentive that we're kind of launching and hoping to offer to help grow the program. So with that, I'll just let Abby take it away and let her explain it all.
Thank you. Hey, it looks like I'm not able to share my screen because I'm not a host. Can you make me a host real quick, please?
Got it.
Thank you.
You should be able to now.
Awesome. Got it. Share my screen real quick. Can you all see that in full screen? Awesome. So like Brock said, my name is Abby Wilcox. I am the sales executive for Commute with Enterprise. So basically my job is to partner with companies across the Midwest. I cover 7 states of the Midwest, including the ECICOG territory. So I'll partner with companies to create van pool solutions, essentially to get their employees to and from work, especially in the high market for recruiting and retention efforts. So this goes along perfectly with all of that right now. So I have been doing this for a little over a year now. Commute with Enterprise is a division of Enterprise Rent-A-Car. So I started in the rental division about 6 years ago, coming over to this about a year ago. So I have been with Enterprise family for about 7 years now, which is crazy to say. So thank you for having me here. And I'm excited to talk with everybody about our van pool program. So I will just jump in. So quick overview or agenda of what I would like to discuss or talk about today is one, just a quick overview of Commute with Enterprise, what it looks like today, an outline of our program and how it works, some of the next steps to a successful launch of our van pool programs. And then like Brock said, we have a special announcement here at the end. And then of course, at the end, we can open up for any questions and answers. And if you have any questions in the middle, anybody stop me. Very open forum with this. So first, like I said, we are a division of Enterprise Rent-A-Car. So we currently operate over 10,000 van pools in the country, and we're currently operating in 48 states. So we are launching every day in new states. When we first started the program, it came about in more of your heavily populated areas, like you can see the Southern California area, down in Florida, and then over on the East Coast in your New Yorks and Washington, D.C.s, because of, that was a high congested area. Whereas now we're finding that here in the middle of the United States, we need it more than ever because of all of the plants that we have and companies we have in the rural location. So it's helped a lot get with that effort as well. Through our program, we've been able to reduce 1.2 billion commuter miles annually, as well as reduce more than almost 945 million pounds of CO2 emissions on the environment. So if any companies have some green or sustainability goals, that goes perfectly in line with that, because we're able to provide that data for them. So very easy how the Commute with Enterprise program or CorridorRides work is it functions like a large carpool. So essentially what we'll do is we'll help a company get together 4 to 15 coworkers who live nearby each other who also have a similar schedule. We will then get them a recent model SUV minivan all the way up into your 12 and 15 passenger Ford Transit vans. From there, the riders or participants would meet up in a convenient location, whether that's at, I always say like a Hy-Vee or a park and ride, or it could be one of the van poolers' houses. We don't care as long as that vehicle is in a safe and secure location overnight. From there, they would use our vehicle to get to and from work, hopefully having more than one driver on a van pool, so then they're able to take turns. as well as enjoying the benefits of that, whether that's a cost savings benefits for a lot of our folks, or sometimes it's just a time back in your day because of your long commutes that you have to and from work, or maybe traffic's really bad where you're commuting from. I know that corridor from Cedar Rapids to Iowa City can be not fun sometimes. So this is great for that part of it as well. Some of the reasons why employees like to use us, again, that recent model SUV, we are part of Enterprise Rent-A-Car, so we have access to endless amount of vehicles, as well as it's a month-to-month convenience. So what that means is it's really easy to start a VanPool program, but it's also pretty easy to terminate a VanPool program. All we require is a 30-day notice to do so. Now, while I say it's really easy to stop a program or terminate a program, most of our VanPool programs are on the road for an average of 6 years or more. So as you can tell, once we get a VanPool program going and the people start to see the benefits of it, there's no reason to cancel a program. We also include full maintenance program in all of our vehicles. So all the oil changes, tire rotations, recalls, things like that. The VanPoolers are just responsible for taking that vehicle to the shop to get the maintenance done. Then the shop bills Enterprise or Commute with Enterprise directly. We also include 24/7 roadside assistance. So any breakdowns, accidents, they get a phone number they can call. One of the most important things that I think that we cover is a comprehensive insurance program. So what that means is if anything happens to our vehicle, we're going to take responsibility for it and cover that up to a total loss or theft. But then we also take it a step further and include $1 million in liability coverage. So, God forbid the VanPoolers are on their way to work in Cedar Rapids and have an accident, then we're going to cover that up to $1 million in liability coverage, which is huge because then that could be a big cost savings for an employee as well. Say, they're usually using their own personal car and putting the miles on their personal car to get to and from work. Well, now maybe they're not doing that. So they can drop down their insurance from, let's say, a commute use insurance policy down to a leisure use because they're no longer using it to commute to and from work. And then hopefully because of all of that, they see a big significant savings in their own pockets from using a VanPool program. So it's pretty cool, and employees tend to like to use us. Some of the main reasons why employers will partner with us and some of the benefits we add to the employers is we see a need right now for reduced parking spaces. A lot of times it can cost, $12,000 a parking space to add one sometimes. So this is a great benefit for that initiative. Also, if there's any security gates or a security guard or any kind of pass through that employees have to get through, it's great for congestion mitigation between shift changes. The employee savings piece we talked about, recruiting and retention. So recruiting, as far as maybe a company is only recruiting from 5 or 10 miles away, where now they have a transportation solution and can recruit from 20, even 30, 40, 50 miles away because they have a transportation benefit. Also, they're able to tap into a different recruiter pool, right? Or employee pool that they weren't able to tap into before. So maybe they are able to help with the refugee population coming into the area and being resettled into the area that don't have driver's licenses and don't have cars, but they are still allowed to participate and ride in our program and participate in the program. So it's great for that. And retention, you're giving your current employees a great tool to get to and from work, hopefully making them more sustainable and better, absentee records because of using this as well. Also, we see a lot of times this helps their employees know that the company is bought into what is going on right now. So the corporate citizenship piece is huge because now your company is telling your employee that you know exactly what's going on out in the environment right now and what struggles they're having to deal with, and they're helping correct those for their employees. And then lastly is that improved CO2 or carbon footprint on the emissions as well. So that's another big one that we see. This is just a quick example of some of the data we provide every company that partners with us once we have a VanPool program rolling on a quarterly basis. So this is just an example. There's 100 people at this employer. 77 of them are using Commute with Enterprise, which is a huge number. And then there's 12 van pools that they're utilizing. Well, you can see there we're able to provide the company with how many miles have we reduced annually or quarterly, as well as CO2 reduction in pounds annually we've been able to reduce, the reduction in parking spaces. But then most importantly, for a lot of companies, it's the employee savings that we're saving their employees annually. So you can see we're saving, in this example, almost $700,000 to those 77 employees on an annual basis. So it's a huge amount just from a commute solution. So typically the next step into figuring out if an employer or a company is a good fit for the Commute with Enterprise program and vice versa is to do a mapping analysis. So what that is a database of where your current employees are coming from based on where the work site is. As you can see, the work site there is that green bubble right in the middle. And then we'll plot them all on a map. And then we highlight the groups that we think are the best for van pooling. So we tend to focus on the people that live the furthest out from where the workplace is, because those are the employees that are most at risk for being stressed out or burnt out and leaving the company because of their commutes. But now we're also seeing that those people that are inside of that, 5-mile radius from the work site, so the people that you wouldn't think would need help, but they actually might need help because the bus lines might not go far enough for them, or the other transportation solutions might not go as far for them. So now we're able to, start a group that comes from 15 miles away and maybe pick up 2 to 3 people, within that 5-mile radius to help them get the rest of the way to work. So one of the things that's still on everybody's mind, even with the vaccines, is COVID-19 and what we're doing to help mitigate that and reduce the exposure to that. So every time we deliver a vehicle, we deliver it with something called a clean car kit. And what that is a bottle of disinfectant, some disposable gloves, some masks. We do ask, because they are a part of a commute solution, that they do wear the masks inside of the van pools. That's a federally mandated rule. But we can't regulate or mandate anything else that's happening in that car. So we just help the folks that are participating in the VanPool program. We help them, come up with a schedule of when they should be disinfecting that vehicle to keep everybody safe, to and from work. So we typically will tell them, hey, we think you guys should clean your VanPool every time you're done using it for the night or the day, whatever your shift is. Clean all the high touch areas with your disinfectant spray, and then lock it up, clean the keys, and then make sure it's good to go for everybody when they're ready to use it again for the next shift. So we find this as a good tool to be able to mitigate and reduce the exposure, like I said, to COVID-19 and other sicknesses as well. Because now when one person in the van pool gets sick, you can just send that whole van pool home to quarantine instead of sending a whole line home sometimes to reduce production at a facility. So some of the next steps to rolling out a VanPool program. So first, we talked about that mapping the employee on the cluster base to be able to identify who's going to be good for VanPooling and picking out an area to focus on. Next, we will roll out a new benefit. So us at Commute with Enterprise, we will provide the company with all of the marketing materials that they might need to roll out a benefit to their employees. Also with that, I would actually come on site, or am able to come on site to do a demonstration. I drive a 7-seater Kia Sorento, which is a great example of what those employees will or could be getting. So I help draw up the buzz and drum up the buzz at the facility, so it's not all on the company. From there, we would hopefully, form van pools and get approved drivers, and then prove our success over a quarterly period, like I talked about earlier with those quarterly business reviews on how much we've been saving on the environment, how much we've been saving your employees, reduce parking spaces, and the miles we've been able to reduce on the road. So typically, from start to finish, it can be a long process, but that's up to the company on how quickly that goes. I've worked with a company that is still not launched for over a year now, but I've also had other companies launch in 2 months, and we get all of this done within 2 months. So it's really up to how much the company is willing to do with me in the beginning to launch the program quicker than the other ones are. And with that, we have a cool special announcement today. So the folks at ECICOG have graciously decided to pay for the first 2 months of VanPooling for any new companies that would like to partner on a VanPool solution with CorridorRides and Commute with Enterprise. So super excited about that. This is something that is not being done in a lot of parts of the country, so it's still very new. So this promotion will run for the next 6 months and expire on September 30th of 2022. So if you guys have any questions, let me know now. I will pass it back over to you guys over there.
Well, thank you, Abby.
Welcome.
Again, I'm I'm newer to the webinar function of Zoom, so forgive me if I ask Brittany how to open it up to questions or anything, but I think we can do that now, right?
Yeah, there's a question and answer button at the bottom of the screen that you can submit questions. And I've been trying to look at the chat, but it won't pull up for some reason. But yeah.
Okay. I see we're recording too, so I suppose we can just use this talk and share it whenever we want. If we got some other folks that want to listen in. Okay.
Yeah, we will post this on our website and likely in our newsletter that goes out in May. It goes out every other month. Oh, Stephen just submitted a question asking, what is the average monthly cost for the VanPool system?
Yeah, so this is one I get all the time. Basically, it's up to, there's a couple of factors that go into it. It's the size of the vehicle, as well as the ECICOG. There is a subsidy for the VanPool, so that helps with the cost. Typically, without any taxes or fees or fuel, for a 7-seater SUV, like I said, like a Kia Sorento, we're looking at about $1,225 before taxes. And then that's before the ECICOG subsidy as well. So a general program, and it's also up to 2,000 miles, is $1,225. Any 500-mile increments over the 2,000 is an extra $125, and that's standard across the board. Good question.
Yeah, and sorry if you already said it and I blanked, but typically ECICOG provides all vans in our region a $400 a month subsidy.
Yep.
So that $1,200 kind of automatically jumps down to $800 if we are participating, which any of them in Benton, Iowa, Jones, Johnson, Lynn, and Washington County qualify.
And that's huge, because that's about 1/3 of the cost of the VanPool on a standard program. So it's a great discount for the employers.
Awesome.
Kind of a follow-up to that, I guess. Is it usually do you usually work with employers to pay that fully, or do they usually just offer it to their employees to cover the cost?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of different ways employers can cover it. So essentially, Commute with Enterprise is going to bill the company less the ECICOG subsidy for any VanPooling that we do with them. But they can do a few things with that. One, they can farm it out to all of their employees, right? So they're not paying any of it. Typically, when we see that, we don't see a great response in the VanPoolers or people wanting to participate in the VanPool. We see the best response and the biggest response from the companies that are either paying 100% of that VanPool, making it a free solution or a free benefit for their employees, or otherwise we're seeing them do pre-tax payroll deduction per week per employee. Companies are allowed to do up to $280 per month per employee for a pre-tax payroll benefit towards a transportation benefit, such as like bus passes, commute, VanPooling, things like that. So we do fall into that category. So a lot of times we'll see companies do, just for example, $30 pre-tax payroll deduction per week with 5 people that could easily help pay for most of the VanPool as well. So it's just up to the company. Like I said, we see a combination of things. Like I said, though, if a company doesn't help pay for a VanPool, we don't see a great response, because why would your employees want to use a commute solution if you're not backing the benefit yourselves? Or if you aren't going to subsidize it, that means that you don't believe in the program, is what a lot of employees will say. So it's pretty interesting. But yeah, totally flexible on whatever that company needs or wants out of it.
All right, well, thanks again, Abby, and
Yeah,
it's always good to hear about the options and spread the good word. So appreciate your time.
absolutely. Thank you.